Yo, what's going on, guys? We're here with my off-season predictions. If you guys have not watched these videos, what I do in these videos is I give my off-season prediction, what I expect from the Dallas Mavericks this off-season. And I want to hear your opinions down below in the comment section. What do you guys expect? We'll talk draft. We'll talk everything. And they're going to have the 10th pick. So, or at least that's where they're projected if they, the lottery goes in their fortune. And if they do keep their pick, it has to be a top 10 pick or they lose it. So we're going to act as if they're going to have the 9th or 10th pick. All right, in this video. But for me, I want to talk about what we expect this team. They went 38-44 this season and what they need to do. They have a 19% chance of this pick going to 11 and 1.2% of it going to 12 after the lottery. If that occurs, it has to go to New York. But I digress. They have Kyrie Irving, Christian Wood, Frank Ntilikina, Markieff Morris, Justin Holiday, Theo Pinson, Dwight Powell, and McKinley Wright IV as their free agents. McKinley Wright is the only restricted. I personally believe Kyrie Irving, Frank Ntilikina, and Theo Pinson are the three guys I would put money on guaranteeing that they'll be back. Theo Pinson is beloved by Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban wanted to draft Frank Ntilikina in the draft, but he ended up being taken by the Knicks, and they took Dennis Smith Jr. And then as soon as Frank Ntilikina became available, they brought him in. And he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. And I think they'll bring him back on a minimum contract. I think they'll just like that. It's an easy deal. And he's only 24, so the only thing is up, okay? And he's still a good rotational role player for them. Next up, you got yourselves, all right. And also, real quickly, before we continue, I think Kyrie's going to stay on a 3 to 4 year deal, max, whatever. And then Theo Pinson, locker room guy. I could see them bring back McKinley Wright, maybe Justin Holiday, maybe not. But the other thing I want to say, if they do get, the 9 or 10 pick, I expect them to either draft Taylor Hendricks because they need front court help and he can shoot threes and protect the rim and play probably some small ball 5. As well as another guy I think they'll debate on is Grady Dick, Kassan Wallace, because they want the 3-point shooting from Grady Dick and his rebounding ability. And then you also have Kassan Walsh, who's like a Drew Holiday, they're calling him. So I think those are the kind of the guys that they'd be going after in the draft. Let me hear your thoughts down below. Dallas obviously went from a team that was last year a Western Conference finalist to, a lottery team. And that's insane. I think it's insane. Like that. People are blaming Jason Kidd because this is a roster. I always talk about Jason Kidd's not in control of the roster. Nico Harrison is. Nico Harrison failed after they traded for Kyrie, which was not a bad trade. They gave up Dorian Finney-Smith, who was the integral to the culture that was in the locker room. And Dallas has 8 players under contracts, and the focus will be obviously on Kyrie Irving. The goal is to fix the defense. They had ranked 23rd in defensive efficiency before the Irving trade. And last year, they were one of, if not the best defense and one of the best rebounding teams. And that just completely disappeared this year. And after the Irving trade, they fell to 26 in defense. The Mavericks have very few options, you could say, to improve their roster. They could have their first round pick, but if it falls out of the top 10, it's not. And retain that pick would give a young player for Dallas to develop, or they could use it to trade. Dallas can trade the player if it drafts once the pick is made as well. So if Irving returns, the Mavericks will be over the salary cap and will only have veteran minimums and the mid-level exception available. They could explore trades with their own players. Davis Bertans, Tim Hardaway Jr. are 2 guys they expect to be traded. And if Davis Bertans is traded, it's probably going to be with the 10th pick included. I've said this before, $34 million, you can get some decent players. And seriously, next year, guys who are making $34 million, which would be Davis Bertans and Tim Hardaway's contracts combined, you can go out and get yourselves, here's everyone making over $30 million and under 36. Ready? Jaylen Brown, Chris Paul, Gordon Hayward, DeAndre Ayton. We know that they want to target DeAndre Ayton, so a Tim Hardaway, Davis Bertans with the 10th pick overall for DeAndre Ayton. I think that would get the deal done, in my opinion. De'Aaron Fox, Bam Adebayo, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Michael Porter Jr., Darius Garland, John Moran, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, Jamal Murray, James Harden, CJ McCollum, Kristaps Porzingis. And that's about everyone. And personally, I think there's only like one guy in that list, and it's DeAndre Ayton, who would be tradable. But if you continue to look around, I mean, they could even go out for like a Miles Turner and say, okay, send us Miles Turner and Jalen Stick-Smith and Chris Duarte, and we'll send you Davis Bertans and Tim Hardaway Jr. and the 10th pick and a bunch of second-round picks. Is something that they could do. But if the draft conditions to New York are not met, the earliest Dallas can trade a first is in 2027. They also have no second-round picks available, so my whole second-round pick thing, ignore it. The Mavericks could create $20 to $30 million in cap space that would come at the expense of Irving, Wood, Powell, and likely Reggie Bullock, who has a $10.5 million contract that becomes guaranteed June 28th. And there's also the sign and trade option with their own free agents that Dallas can explore. The Mavericks would not be hard capping any sign and trade because the acquiring players are, they're acquiring players, but not free agents. So obviously we know what the top, priority. Irving's eligible for a 5-year, $272 million contract, and he's a max player, but the concern is the length of the deal. Irving's played fewer than 65 games in 4 straight seasons. Considering that Doncic could become a free agent in 2026, Mavericks should not commit more than 3 years. I do 3 years with a 4th-year option. And there's also the question on what or who Dallas is bidding against. The Lakers are likely not interested, and they don't have the cap space. And the teams that do, the Indiana Pacers, San Antonio Spurs, Houston Rockets, and Orlando Magic, either have a point guard of the future or in the middle of their rebuild. So Irving could take less money elsewhere, or a team that is currently over the cap could create flexibility. See, can the Mavericks afford to lose Jalen Brunson and Kyrie Irving consecutive seasons for nothing? No. Extension candidates to watch out for: Josh Green. He could join Luka Doncic as the only Maverick to receive a rookie extension since 2008. When he has played at least 15 minutes, Josh Green averaged 9.4 points, 53% from the field, 40 from 3. And Dallas also has June 30th to extend Christian Wood, which ain't happening. Wood, Doncic, and Irving has struggled this season. In 14 games and 45 minutes together, the Mavericks were minus 38.2 net efficiency when all 3 are on the floor. Their offense efficiency was 99, and their defense efficiency was 137. That's terrible. They can also extend Reggie Bullock, Davis Bertans, and Tim Hardaway, and Dwight Powell. But again, if they keep this pick, I think it could be something that's beneficial for them. Man, it is very interesting to see how this will play out, because I don't know, man. Okay, like, it's weird. It's weird. We all know it's weird, and I'm not gonna sit here and be like, how do we fix this? All right, nah, like, it has become weird, and I don't know if there's any way to fix that, because again, it's just somewhat weird, and I don't know if this is, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? What do you think needs to be done, and why? And let me hear your opinions down below in the comment section. But that's gonna be it for me. Peace out.